What is up, Pyromaniacs? Pyrostasis here. We're back in the world of Beyond Reality. And you guys may be wondering, dude, why are you in the desert? We're in the desert because we need sand. I finally enchanted my little bad mamma jamma here. It is efficiency 4 and breaking 3. I will be setting up the Terra Shatter as well, but at the moment it's a little bit too hard for me to get experience points. So happened to have 30 levels, figured I'd give it a shot, got kind of lucky, and I am enjoying the ever-loving shit out of this. Dude, mining this normally, before this was enchanted, was a pain in the ass. Now, I feel like I'm rocking around with MCMMO abilities, just burninating the desert. I feel like a destroyer of deserts. It's actually quite cool. I'm loving it. Now, some of you guys may be asking, well, why the hell are you making this much sand? I mean, surely to God, there's no reason for you to have this much sand. Well, you're kind of right. I did get a little carried away there. I was enjoying myself, destroying the sandy countryside a little too much. There we go. Now we have even digits. All right, so let's head back to base, and I'll show you guys what we're working on. Now, remember, we've been talking about trying to make more mana, that we've been running into issues with mana production and things along those lines. Well, I've spent the last, I don't know, couple hours running around doing my absolute best to get as much clay and sand as possible. Now, clay is a lot harder, believe it or not, than the sand is, because you have to actually go and find it in the water, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass, but I have been getting it. And what we've been doing with that is we've been making these. These are coal coke ovens. This is quite a bit of work that I've done here as soon as that chunk loads. We've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per side. Over here, obviously I haven't finished them, but I wanted to show you guys how to build one, so we went ahead and got the pieces. So bam, 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 bam. What you want to do is you want to do a standard 3x3. You want to leave the center hollow. So 3x3 on the bottom, that's 9 blocks. 3x3 on the top, that's 9 blocks. And then everything here, 3x3 except for the center. You want that hollow. Then once you've got that, you simply place coal here. Or you can place, I believe you can place a tree here and it will make charcoal. But we're focused on coal. And this will get you... right here, you can see we're taking coal, we're burning it. That gives us coal coke, and it also gives us creosote oil. Now, creosote oil is also a liquid fuel, which we are going to be attempting to use to get our first boiler running. Now, the problem with creosote oil is, I don't know if you guys are watching it, but it goes really, really slowly. You can see right here, it's ticking. It takes about, I think it's 3 minutes or 2 minutes per cycle, so it's definitely not quick. And if you've ever set up a one of the boilers or whatnot, you'll know those things are hungry little monsters when they first start up. They need a lot of fuel. And I think the last time I did this, which was on Techromancer a while back when me and Twitix were setting up something like this, it took us 20 of these to get it all running. So that kind of gives you an idea for how many of these you need. So I will be setting up the full 16 of them here on both sides, and then we're going to hope for the best. Now, some of you guys will be like, well, holy shit, dude, that's a lot of coal. Where are you getting that? Well, I have our coal mine, which I've shown you guys in previous episodes. This is our coal mine, and we've been rather busy with it. Let me drop you down here, and you guys can see. I've been busy mining. This gives you guys kind of an idea of how much mining I've done. This is just the bottom tier. And I basically just straight up strip mine it like this, and we just move straight through, and we basically get everything that there is to get. And I will be enchanting this pick here soon. Right now it's not enchanted, so it's fast until you get to this granite stuff, and then the granite stuff slows it down. But normally it's pretty quick. But I pretty much do it to right here, and then I stop. I will be dragging it further down. I basically do it for the entire length of the node, assuming I can find the node. Sometimes the node drifts in different spots. So like it'll end early over here, but like right there you can see those little edges. That's where the node was further along, but it wasn't over here. So you kind of have to be careful with it. But anyways, once I get some of this stuff, and obviously this is a very small amount, but it gives you guys kind of an idea. Once I get that, I come back here to the old Ferni. We're having a little bit of lag on the server. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyways, I put that in here. This turns it into coal, and which you'll see here in just a second. And once that turns into coal, slap that up there. There we go. Once that turns it into coal, I can either use it as fuel here, which is what I'm going to do with this, or I bring it over here and use it in these guys. Now you guys can see that we've got quite a decent amount. I mean, it's not a ton. It's not going to be one of those things where, you know, I want to write home to mom and brag. But it's a decent amount of coal coke. Now, some of you guys will be like, well, why the hell are you investing all this time in coal coke? I mean, I don't understand what's so special about coal coke. Well, different fuels have different burn rates, okay? And so the different burn rates set how long it burns and how much you get out of it. So, for instance, right here, you can see this is 1,600 seconds. Well, not seconds, I'm sorry, 1,600 ticks. 1,600 divided by 20 is 80. So this right here, that is 80 seconds worth of fuel. Now, granted, in a coal coke oven, it's a little different because it's making coal coke. But normally, this will burn for 80 seconds. You'll notice right here, this is 3,200. So that is double. Well, 3,200 with this thing, that means it burns for, 160 seconds? Well, if you come over here to this thing, we'll drop one of those out, you can see this burns for 28,800 ticks. 28,800 ticks. Now, that sounds like a lot, but you're like, well, okay, how much actually is 2,800 ticks? Well, you take 28,800, and I'm doing this on a calculator because I couldn't remember the number. You divide it by 20, and that's going to give you 1,440. That's how many seconds, because there are 20 ticks in a second in Minecraft. That's just Minecraft law. So we're at 1,440. You divide that by 60, and that gives you 24 minutes, okay? So each block of coal coke gives you 24 minutes. Now, the other nice thing about coal coke as opposed to charcoal and coal is you don't have to feed this into one of Greg Tech's stupid machines. You can just place it directly into here and you will get the blocks, which is perfect. Now, I'm going to show you guys something real quick so you guys can get an idea for this. I need 16, so that'll work. Boom, boom. Okay, put that in. All right. So the question that I had was whether or not endoflames were smart enough or whether they've been coded enough to understand the difference between materials. Okay. So for instance, right now they're all offline. Okay. Now we know we have 16 here. So we know as soon as I drop these 16, they'll pick them up. Give it a second. Okay. And if you do a benchmark on that, you'll kind of get a feel for how long that takes. Now, it's a fairly decent amount of time, but it's only going to be about a minute and 20 seconds, which is still good. I mean, that's still mana. Mana is still being produced, but a minute and 20 seconds really isn't all that long. Now, we are still trying to get our Terra Shatterer to rank A, which I believe is going to give us one more line out. And then we can get it to S and then double S, which will be 2 more lines out. So eventually we'll be doing like a 10 by 10 radius with this thing, which is the goal. That's where we want to be. But if we're having to make all this coal and all we're getting for the benefit of this coal is just 80 seconds, then we're going to have a lot of automated machines here. We're going to have a farm rolling, and it's a pain in the ass. And now you guys can see it's already stopped. Well, that's not cool. We don't want that. We want it to run a lot longer. So with these blocks of coal coke, we get significantly longer burn times. This will now burn for 24 minutes, roughly. I don't know if it's actually 24 minutes. It may be a little bit more compressed than that, but you'll watch here in just a second. Boom. Now they're all cooking, rocking and rolling, and this is going to burn for, it burns for about 20 minutes. In my experience. I didn't exactly clock it, but 24 minutes is the actual burn time per block. We just put 16 of them in there, and that should give us 24 minutes of mana. 24 minutes of mana in this is almost a mana pool for each of these, which we only need, I've already put about, I think, 5 mana pools into this Terra Shatterer, so we should be getting fairly close to rank A. And then once we get to rank A, a lot of setups are going to get a little bit easier. So I think this is probably the method I'm going to use to get this all set up and going. It's definitely, I don't know, it may not be the most efficient, but it's a little bit easier than going with some of the other routes. Now, because we're doing this method right here, we're going to want to start moving into the Afromancy stuff. Afromancy is one of the expansions for Britannia. So if we pull, I don't even know if Afromancy is even in this. I think we have to unlock it to get to Afromancy. But basically, Afromancy starts unlocking the upgraded mana spreaders. I believe it upgrades mana pools and a whole bunch of other features. And it's pretty much advanced tech. It's kind of like an advanced version of Britannia. And the way that works is basically you open up a portal to Elfland, and then you throw shit through your portal. You're basically sharing human knowledge with the elves, and the elves don't have human knowledge over there, and so they then share elf knowledge with you. And I don't know why they share it, because their knowledge is better than ours, so I don't understand why they would give a rat's ass about us and our setups. But that's what we're going to be moving into soon with this, so that we can kind of perk this up, because I would like to have quite a few more of these little endoflames going, because right now we only have 16. If I can get, I don't know, 64 of them, then we'll be producing just ridiculous amounts. And you can see right here where that mana bar is. Now we click it, and you can see it's moving. So unlike the other stuff, we can actually notice this stuff is moving. The problem with this setup, one of the other issues that we're going to run into, is this setup will no longer work. And the reasoning behind that is the machine inventory manager, we're running off of a trigger here. So our current interval is, or was, about 20 seconds. So we kind of actually needed to jump that up to about, I guess, 30 or 40 seconds. Either way, we need this to be like 15, 20 minutes now. And I can't get that because the maximum we can get here is 999, which I believe is about 16 minutes, I believe. 16.65 minutes. Yeah. So if this stuff will cook for 24 minutes, and we drop every 16 minutes, let's round up and say 17 minutes, then that's roughly, 7 minutes in between cycles, and Minecraft deletes blocks on the ground every 5 minutes. So that's going to be sitting on the ground for 5 minutes, or 7 minutes, which is 3 minutes longer than it'll take to despawn. So we're going to have to come up with something different than this, because this unfortunately isn't going to work. Now what I can do is I can do 2 of these in system. So basically what I can do is I can set up a crate on top of this that feeds into an inventory manager, which feeds into another crate, which feeds into another inventory manager. And then I can set both of them timed to, let's say, 15 minutes or 12 minutes. Let's say 12 minutes. So the top one is where we put all the stuff in. And then every 12 minutes, it drops down to the next one. And then every 12 minutes after that, it drops down to the next one. That way, it'll take 24 minutes for what's in the top to get down to the bottom. That will technically work. But it, over time, might get out of sync, and we might have some problems that I might end up wasting. The other issue is it's kind of tall. Sure, I could make it in a line, but it's kind of ungangly. So what we may try and come up with a different way to use these endoflames. Specifically, we may use some lava production or something. I'm not sure yet. We're gonna have to play around with it and see how things go. The other nice thing is, or not so nice thing is, now that we're producing fuel down here, I need to get these things cleared out. So you're gonna notice right here that we've got creosote oil filling up. We've already got, I've only been doing this for one night, probably about 3 hours, 2 hours maybe. And I've already filled up about, what is that, about 30% of one of these ovens, and all of these are about 30%. We're going to want to back this fluid up, because as soon as this thing fills, it stops producing, so we don't want that. Now, there's a bunch of different methods that we can do. We can do tanks, and there's a ton of different tanks. These open block tanks are probably one of the cheaper options, but they also have lag issues. And I think they can hold, they hold 16 buckets per. So if we get all the glass and we get all the obsidian, then we're going to get 16 per. Now, that's not a bad deal. That's not a bad deal. And again, it's fairly cheap, but it is also kind of laggy. And by laggy, I mean when you have one of those that holds, say, 30,000 buckets. I'm just throwing that number out. But let's say you've got it where it stores 30,000 buckets. That's too much. The lag starts, these start hindering tick rates, or at least they used to. They may not anymore, but they used to. Now, I think we have drums. Yes, we have drums. So I can also use drums. Now, the nice thing about a drum is a drum only uses 256,000. You can see right here with the drum, though, it has been Greg-tagified. And by Greg-tagified, I mean, you can see right here, it needs steel plates to use. So I wanted to use these, but steel plates are going to be a little too much for me. It's not going to be worth it. It's not going to be worth it. Now, the other nice benefit about this is since we are making this creosote oil, I am going to be able to make the planks, which is going to allow me to make rail carts. And there is Railcraft in here and a series of other like Steve's carts and things along those lines. So what I think we're going to end up doing is I'm going to use a automated rail system, which I don't know, if you're like wherever into trains as a kid like I was, then that sounds really cool. So we're going to set up a train system if I can get it figured out, and I'm not promising, I'm going to try, but if I can get it figured out, this entire floor here will eventually be coal coke ovens, and then we will have a rail system here that will come down and scoop up from each individual one of these things, and then we're going to go up a floor. And this is where we're probably going to store it. Either that or we'll store it down a floor, because this is where the boilers are going to actually be down here. So we're going to set all of our boilers up probably over here. And we're going to have our machines probably eventually up higher. So we're going to be storing all the stuff down here on this floor. So we'll probably have the cart drop down on one of the sides over here or something, and then basically the cart will stop at each coal coke oven and then run down here to the bottom and dump its containers. Because let's see, you can see here Railcraft has a ton of different types of carts, if I recall. Yeah, here you go. So you have the chest carts. Here we go. We've got the wooden TNT carts, work carts, track relayer carts, tank cart. That's what we'll be using. The tank cart right there will actually scoop up stuff with it. So you need an iron tank, which kind of sucks because we're gonna have to make iron and glass, but that's not too shabby. And then you need a mine cart, which, holy shit, that's actually a lot harder than I expected, but still, even that's not so bad. And then we'll basically run all of this stuff downstairs. And I've never used Railcraft like this. I mean, this is what Railcraft was designed to do. So it's going to be kind of fun to actually play with a mod that's been around for, God, it's been around forever, but something you've never actually played with. So I'm looking forward to trying to automate with carts. If it doesn't work, then we're just going to use pipes and tanks, and it'll be a little bit easier, but it just won't look as cool. So I kind of want to make it look cool. Yes, I realize I'm doing a lot of extra work for that cool factor. No, I don't care, and I'm still going to enjoy it anyway. So I did want to kind of update you guys on what we were doing here, where we're going, and what my plans are. I will end up having to move our little blast furnace probably up a floor. And we'll end up moving our machines most likely up a floor. And the bottom floor will be tanks and steam production. Middle floor will be fuel production. And then the top floor up there is going to end up being all of our machines and where the steam will go. So anyways, guys, that is going to wrap up today's episode. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, please slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next clip.